One station making history every day.
Chicago, Chicago.
Now, Jake Hartford.
89.
Welcome to the NATO Chicago Summit 2012 Everybody's Got a Beef Special with your host, Jake Hartford. But first, the official NATO anthem.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our special on the NATO Summit, Chicago 2012. Everyone's got a beef. And we'll be getting to your beef this morning. John Cass will join us later on. We'll be taking your calls, of course, 591-8900. Jim Johnson will be here with all the news and traffic updates. And it's really happened. They're really having a meeting. I thought they're going to wait until the last second and cancel it, but I guess they had to get all the, they made arrangements. If you're driving this morning, I know you've heard about it and you've been warned, and let me tell you, it's for real. There are police everywhere. Inbound on the Stevenson, closed at the Ryan. You have two choices. You could take the ramp that goes to the northbound Ryan, which is on the far right, or you can take the last lane, because what they do, they're starting around Damon. They're closing lanes. First the far left lane, then the second lane. And based on the guy who was weaving in front of me this morning, going 45 miles an hour, they put these barricades up, and I think they had some more weavers, because every so often you'll see a bunch of the barricades that have already been knocked down. But anyway, when you get down to the Rhine, you'll either be able to go north on the Rhine or south, and that's it. They have barricades up. They have police with the lights flashing. If you're on the inbound Rhine, you want to go into the Stevenson down to Lakeshore Drive, that is blocked. If you're in the outbound Ryan coming from downtown and you want to take that ramp that, connects by the Stevenson to Lakeshore Drive, that is blocked. Lakeshore Drive is closed from 3900 South to Balboa. Roosevelt closed from Michigan to Lakeshore Drive. And if you're coming to park downtown today, and you think you're going to get one of those free spots because it's the weekend, think again. There is no parking all this weekend, which will be a boon for the private parking garages. They'll make some money. However, when they're making money, the city will be losing money in that all those boxes that you would normally pay to park, you can't park at. And when that company doesn't get that money, what do? They tell the city every one of those spots would have been filled, so you owe us the money. What is it, about $6 an hour now to park downtown? So you do the math. Each space, $72 a day for 4 days? That's about $300 per space. Multiply the spaces, the thousands of spaces downtown. That's what it's costing. There will also be different lane closures as more of the motorcades arrive in town. People coming in from O'Hare. Long motorcades. I think the president of Estonia had 14 cars in it. I don't know. The president of Afghanistan, Karzai, is here. I saw a clip on the news. It looked like he was on, when the president flies Air Force One, they have two planes, two 747s. Whatever the president is flying, they call that Air Force One. And there's a backup plane. It looked like he was on one of the 747s. He arrived at O'Hare. This one guy from Afghanistan getting off the plane. Sure looked like whatever. You would have thought they would have did a carpool, like an airplane pull, to get over here. And he was a last-minute add to this meeting. I hope he has a place to stay. Because rooms are tight, they say. Although, if you look at some of the news, the business downtown yesterday, there were restaurants that you could have shot a cannon through. There was nobody. Empty. It was like a ghost town. Great for the economy. I hope the anarchists are spending money. They say it'll be good, but I don't know. There are people who are just afraid of what's going on. And with the protests and public transportation, that's going to be disrupted if you can get to it. But we will keep you informed, not only on this show, but on the other shows right here on 89 WS today and tomorrow, plus Monday, the actual day of the summit. You're going to get all the information you need. Jim Johnson will be with me starting at 6 o'clock. You'll have traffic, everything. This is the place to be. You'll hear the discussions. Anyway, 591-8900 is the phone number. Paul in Arlington Heights. Good morning, Paul. Welcome to 89 WS.
Good morning, Jake. Well, I'd like to point out first thing, there's more important things happening today than the gathering of the NATO summit.
I don't think so. Can't be anything more important than the NATO summit.
Well, here you go. One of your biggest fans, PJ in Crown Point, Indiana, her son Tyler is getting married today to his fiancee Kristen. So we want to wish those two a very happy marriage together. But I do have some advice for Tyler, okay?
Don't move out of the house?
No, kind of similar. You don't move in. You never move in with your mother-in-law. But remember when Ralph Crandon gave advice to his future brother-in-law, Stanley? He says, when you get married, you say two things. I do, and I'm the boss. Let sure you make your wife know that you are the king of the castle.
Yeah, that goes over a lot.
Yeah. You've seen how well it works with me and Morgan. It hasn't worked in the last 40 years almost. So, Jake, another thing I'd like to bring up about this NATO summit, let's say you wanted to go and you have a trip and you have to take Amtrak, all right? Mm-hmm. Now, this is a scenario that actually I had to do last year. You're going to take the northwest line of the Union Pacific here in order to get downtown Chicago. Well, let's say if you're going far, you're going to have luggage. But they're saying you can't bring any luggage on any of the metro trains. Well, what the heck are you going to do, Jake? You're going to do take a taxi cab from, let's say, Crystal Lake, Illinois, and take it all the way to downtown Chicago because you're not allowed to bring luggage onto the train?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
How much could a taxi be from Crystal Lake? About $9, $9.50?
Well, yeah,
plus tip?
Wish. Add maybe another $100 to that, $9. Unbelievable. I mean, talk about inconvenience, and I'm sure, Jake, I am sure people are going to be affected like that. There's got to be people affected like that today or all this weekend. I mean, that's ridiculous. And another thing that I was thinking over during the week, something you suggested to me, and by golly, I think you're right. You were suggesting that, I should vote in that governor's election up there in Wisconsin, And, since I do pay property taxes up there, I should have some say-so on who the governor should be in that state, right?
They've got people, they've done stories up in Wisconsin of people registering to vote up there who are from Chicago. So, why not?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I could go right across the border, go into Genoa City, and try to vote, since I won't be there on the day of the election itself, but I could maybe go across the border and try to vote.
You can register as a homeless person.
There you go. And then if I get caught and they're saying, hey, I'm doing wrong, I can use this famous saying that's taken over on the Internet. I could say, Jake Hartford made me do it. There you go. If they blame me, I'll blame you.
Yeah, you can say you're homeless, and they can't turn you away.
That's right. So maybe I will vote in that election after all.
I'm not telling anybody to break the law, but I'm just saying you can.
That's right. There you go.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
All right, Jake. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Stay safe out there.
Take care. Let's go to Mike in rural Wisconsin. Mike, you're on 89 WLS.
Hey, thanks. I remember as a teenage boy living in Chicagoland, and our history teacher told us about the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and why it was formed. It was formed so all of Europe would be safe from Russia.
Yes.
It's rather ironic that in the year 2012, I'm driving around Wisconsin contemplating my next presidential election, where I sure as heck hope everybody gets to the polls and votes out personal undercover representatives of the entire communist world, because we have a leader in our midst who represents what we used to think we had to get organized to fight.
Are you saying you're anti-Obama?
Yeah.
Would you rather have somebody like Romney? You want a guy like Mitt Romney who made money?
Yeah. Well, the battle here is, do we want to be socialist like France and Greece and Spain and Ireland? Or do we want to continue the system that made us the greatest country in the world? We're pretty much at a crossroads here.
I think we want to. I think we want to be like Greece, where we're used to the nice benefits and we don't want to give them up.
Oh yeah, well we had that drama going in Wisconsin, where there are elements here of people who love their benefits are trying to take the governor out here in June because he dared to trim their benefits.
Well, let me ask you a question, Mike. You're in Wisconsin. You would know this. Let's say the governor wins in June of Wisconsin, okay? Scott Walker wins in June. Could they have another recall election? Get signatures on a ballot and have another recall?
No. Once he overwhelms them in June, and he will, he's safe until 2014. They can't recall him again.
You sure?
I'm 100% sure.
Then
That's been talked about quite a bit here.
Then he can do whatever he wants then.
Plenty of other people they'll work on.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Bye.
Yeah, then he can do whatever he wants. Get past the election in June. He's safe for 2 years. Hey, can't recall me. You tried it once, didn't work. We'll get to more of your calls. This is your NATO headquarters this morning. All things NATO. 591-8900, Jake Hartford right here in 89 WLS.
When you need to know how to panic properly.
There's a memo in Milwaukee for the Red Cross up there that says to prepare for potential Chicago evacuees during the NATO conference.
Turn to Rokon and Richard Roker.
What?
Afternoons 2 to 6.
I got people, and I let them all know we don't spend enough time together as a family, really. I've got a sleeping bag. I don't make a lot of noise.
Gird your loins.
What?
With Chicago's talk leader.
Wow.
89 WLS.
Tune in to the Mortgage Radio Show here on 890 AM WLS this morning at 11 a.m. The Mortgage Radio Show, hosted by Kerry Kasem and mortgage expert Alex Michaels, brought to you by Network Capital Funding Corporation, will help you find the right mortgage product for your needs. The Mortgage Radio Show will provide you reliable information, up-to-the-minute interest rates, and most current loan programs available. Get the tools needed to make sound financial and mortgage choices. Tune in this morning at 11 a.m. on 890 AM WLS. The Mortgage Radio Show, your number one choice for mortgage news.
Today's Gold Bond Rescue mission, itching for a birdie. I'm on the 10th green with Sam.
Hey,
And right now, he's sweating a tricky downhill putt from 9 feet out.
That's tricky because I'm all sticky and itchy.
That's why I'm giving Sam the powder with the power. Gold Bond Body Powder. The encapsulated menthol protects skin, absorbs moisture, and relieves itching.
Now, if I miss, it's all on me.
Relax. Gold Bond keeps you cool under pressure.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Think Gold Bond.
This stuff works.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Nobody ever says, it's just cancer. Get over it.
Or, snap out of it. It's just diabetes.
And who would ever say, it's nothing serious, it's just heart disease?
But you do hear those words about people living with another serious illness.
It's called depression, and it threatens the lives of more than 15 million Americans.
Like heart disease, its symptoms can be misleading.
Like diabetes, it's biologically based.
And, like cancer, it can be fatal.
So what we should say is what doctors, medical professionals, and other experts say. Depression can be treated.
Which is why those who have overcome it say, getting treatment is like getting your life back.
Depression is real, but so is hope. Learn more at depressionisreal.org.
Supported by a coalition of organizations, including Mental Health America, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the National Medical Association, and the National Urban League.
For the millions living with COPD, breathing becomes a real struggle. COPD stands for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, but you may have heard of it as chronic bronchitis or emphysema. Over time, it makes it harder and harder to breathe until you feel like you're breathing through a straw. COPD is the 4th leading cause of death in the U.S. It kills 1 person every 4 minutes, and it took my grandmother. An estimated 24 million Americans are affected, but as many as half of them don't even know it. It's a race against time to spread the word about this serious disease. If you're over 35 and have ever smoked, you could be at risk. The good news is, there are steps you can take to improve your symptoms. I'm Danica Patrick, and I drive for COPD. Take action today to breathe better tomorrow. Join the movement at driveforcopd.com. Take our screening questionnaire today and talk to your doctor.
I'm sorry, sir, but it appears as though your credit card has been declined.
Did everyone hear that? This person right here, credit card declined. If we can please have an awkward silence.
Oh, I'm with a date here. Look, so I'm late on a few payments. I'll make it up next month. Promise.
He promises to pay it all back next month. Can we have an aww?
Putting more on your card than you can afford to spend can lead to even bigger problems, like public humiliation. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
Tune into Securing Your Financial Future with Goldstone Financial Group this Sunday morning at 8. And learn how to grow your money safely and never lose it again.
News from across the country and around the world is moments away with an ABC News update on 89 WLS and WLSAM.com.
.24. Awake with Jake, the NATO special. Everyone's got a beef. What's your beef? And we're also going to test your knowledge of how well you know NATO. You should know it. You should know it backwards and forwards right now. We're going to have Jim Johnson later on with the news, and there'll be traffic all during my show and all during the weekend right here on 89 WLS today and tomorrow. Jim and Gary, you're on 89 WLS.
Hey, good morning, Jake.
Good morning.
I've got two things. As far as NATO, the thing I don't understand is why this thing wasn't held on an Air Force base in the middle of nowhere. It really didn't need to be held in the middle of our city, and especially during White Sox Cubs week. But
are they going out? Are they going out to Cubs Park today for some sort of ceremony?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the Pentagon has quite a budget for propaganda. So, but the thing is, though, too, is your last caller was talking about Obama being a communist, and I understand.
I think he said socialist.
Okay, well, either way.
That's a difference.
I understand it, based on his, his rhetoric and maybe, the people that he's associated with. But the fact of the matter is, you look at what he's done. He hasn't changed the course from Bush, who increased the size of government by 70%. Lenin talked about if you give
Bush didn't increase government by 70%.
What do you mean?
He did increase government by 70%.
Really?
No.
Medicare Part D, No Child Left Behind.
Not government. He didn't increase government by 70%. No.
And spending?
Spending is different. But the spending that went up during Bush is dwarfed by how much has gone up under Obama.
Oh, I agree, but two wrongs don't make a right. And what I'm saying, though, is that if you look at it, they both are beholden, both parties are beholden to multinational corporate interests. They aren't looking out for the American people. Look at Gary, Indiana, man. It's falling apart. We got money to blow up bridges and rebuild them in other countries. We're watching the borders between Afghanistan and Pakistan. We don't even watch our own borders, man.
Gary, you're one of the crown jewels of the Chicago airport system. It's O'Hare, Midway, and Gary.
Well, I mean, an airport doesn't make a city, though, bud.
Yeah, but how about weren't you proud of all those world leaders that started flying in yesterday through Gary?
I'm sorry?
Didn't you see any of the world leaders that flew in through Gary International yesterday, and they're going to be doing it today and tomorrow?
No, I sure didn't.
Yeah, you see, you got to get part of that. Get some civic pride.
No, I mean, the fact of the matter is it doesn't matter to me. These world leaders aren't my leaders. That's part of the problem here is that the United States has sacrificed so much of its sovereignty through all these treaties that our great-grandfathers signed, And in the meantime, we're just going bankrupt trying to be the police of the world.
We're not. Well, yeah, we are going bankrupt doing that. Thank you, Jim. I mean, Karzai, he needs $4 billion a year to keep security up once we pull out. And he can only contribute $500 million. So he's $3.5 billion short. So that's why he's in Chicago, to raise some money. 528, Awake with Jake. It's a Saturday morning on 89 WLS.